Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review, and man, it's so good to have you back, Ash Williams, because after a long wait, Ash vs. Evil Dead is finally back with Season 3, Episode 1, Family. Feels like forever since the last season ended, over a year ago, and I've just been dying to see more. I've been waiting for this season. I mean, I wish we had gotten it back in October, like we had the previous seasons. And I'm kind of bummed they had to wait till February, and also kind of worrying because we don't know if this will be the last season or not. But you know what? It's finally here, and I'm just happy. I'm really happy. Now, what I like to do with these videos, especially for the first episodes, is I like to just give a quick, spoiler-free reaction to it, and I just delve into it and, spoil it all and just discuss everything about it. So my initial, spoiler-free reaction to this first episode is, it's solid. It's really entertaining. It's just more of what you love from the first two seasons. I do have some minor gripes with it that I'll go into more when I discuss the episode, fully. But overall, it's a ton of fun, great moments, great gore effects, some really good gory death scenes that are very memorable. It was just a fun, it's more of the same. If you like the first two seasons, you're gonna like this episode. It's more of that, and it just brings a smile to my face seeing these characters again and seeing them in these crazy situations. It was a good start to the season, to say the least. Now, that's about really I can say spoiler-free without just delving into it. Now, delving into this episode, spoilers and all, is that the episode begins with an hilarious TV ad for the new hardware store / sex shop that Ash is opening up. And that opening bit is hilarious. I loved it. And then you see Ash in Elk Grove. Everybody thinks he's a hero now after, the timeline got changed at the end of Season 2. That's something I'm going to get into that I have issues with. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But you see everything's all going good for Ash. Ash and Pablo are opening up the shop together. Then we see on the TV in Ash's store this sort of auction type of show going on where these people are bringing up these possibly valuable items to possibly, see if they're worth money or anything. And this girl brings up the Necronomicon, just oh yeah, I found this in the dirt outside and everything. And the guy's oh, this is really interesting. He starts looking through it. Of course he's this is ancient Sumerian. I'm gonna start reading it off. And of course he starts reading it off. And he unleashes evil, basically. And then you see Ruby walking in. This is the 80s blonde Ruby from the end of Season 2, who's back to being evil. And she takes the book, leaves out of the place, and now evil is unleashed onto Elk Grove. And then we see Ash's daughter, Brandy, who's in high school, and she gets attacked by their mascot, this cougar type of character, and she calls up her mom. So her mom goes up to Ash, and of course Ash has no memory of who she is until she ends up reminding him, and she has him go save their daughter. And that's basically the gist of the episode. It's, of course, 30 minutes, so not a whole lot happens plot-wise. Now, when it comes to this episode, I have some issues, and the major thing I don't like is the timeline thing. And maybe I'm just looking too much into this because it's Evil Dead, and, continuity isn't, the greatest, isn't the strongest in this franchise. But I just don't like how it doesn't make any sense. I don't like how, at the end of Season 2, they, defeated the evil, destroyed the book, before the events of the movies even happened. And then all of a sudden, Elk Grove thinks he's a hero, and that never really lined up for me. And then, come this season, everything is exactly the same. They never went back in time, except for the fact that Elk Grove is happy about Ash and they like him. And it doesn't make any sense as to why, they talk about how, oh, Ash was this, crazy dude who killed people, but now everybody loves him. But he really didn't. He just stopped evil in the cabin, and no one would even know about that because he didn't kill people. And that just kind of annoys me. And to me, it just kind of comes off as kind of lazy writing, as much as kind of fudging the continuity the previous movies did and stuff. It just feels kind of it's taking advantage of the messed up continuity of the franchise, being yeah, whatever, they won't care because the continuity's messed up anyway. To the point where there's even a line where Pablo was talking to Brandy's mom, and he mentions how Ash has always been by my side this entire time, except for that one time I got cut in half. But then he went back in time and saved me. I like that part. But then he goes, what was weird is that when we got back to our time, everything was exactly the same. Nothing changed. And I was oh, really? That's your explanation for it? Just saying that nothing changed? I don't know. That just kind of bugs me. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I know after this episode, I guess the season progresses, I'm just gonna like move on from it. But it still kind of bugs me that like the ending of season 2 didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and they didn't really do anything to clear it up in this premiere. They just kind of like, yeah, well, whatever. It kind of messed up that finale a little bit, but let's just move on. So that kind of annoys me. And you know what? This isn't really a flaw with the episode, but I wouldn't have minded just seeing more of like Ash and Pablo with his like opening up his store and stuff. Like it got started really quickly, and I understand why, because it's only 30 minutes, and you want to get some like good action in there for the first episode, to get people excited for more. I understand why, but like they didn't need to like read from the book in like the opening 5 minutes. I wouldn't have minded just seeing a little bit more of Ash and Pablo, just like being happy, just like living in Elk Grove, seeing what their lives are like. I thought that would have been fun. It's not, like I said, not really a flaw as much as like I wouldn't have minded that. And something I noticed with this episode that isn't really a flaw with this one, but I feel like could be an issue moving forward if this does continue with more seasons, is that this episode's kind of the same thing as the season 2 premiere. Where it's like, everybody's all happy, evil's defeated, yay, no way it's not, okay, we have to go stop it again. You know what I mean? It's kind of just the same thing where it's like, okay, it's starting up again. And I understand that they're trying to make every season kind of like a self-contained story in a way, where it's like, has a beginning and an end to it, and this is the start of a new story. I get that, but if they do continue with another season, which I really hope they do, I think the season premiere of season 4 is going to have to be something different. It can't just be like, oh, everything's happy, no wait, it's not. And so I really hope that the season ends off on an interesting note, like a kind of cliffhanger in a way, that'll make the season 4 premiere something different and more unique, because if they do the same thing that they do with these 2 season premieres in that one, it's going to feel like kind of repeating yourself. But you know what? Those little bits aside, I had a ton of fun with this episode. Just, like I said, it was just great seeing these guys back again. Some good sequences. Funny enough, the big kind of like set piece in this episode at the end, the fight in the music room with Brandy's friend who turns into a Deadite, I wasn't too big on it when it started out. When it's like the instruments are going around and attacking them, I was like, yeah, this is kind of weird. I'm not really into it. And like the guitar's flying at Pablo, I'm like, eh. But then the drumsticks start attacking Ash, and I'm like, okay. This is great. This is back to just being classic. Just seeing Bruce Campbell just being attacked by like the little drums and... Okay, and then the scene just got great as it went on, and the way they defeat the Deadite by like slamming the harp like strings on here, which was like a practical effect too, looked amazing and was just so awesome. Although I knew that Brandy's mom was gonna die in this episode, just because in the trailer she was just in like that one scene and she was never seen again in the trailer. So I was like, oh, okay, she's probably gonna die in this one. I was like, I wonder how it's gonna happen. Holy crap, her death scene is amazing. It's crazy. Just the way the drum cymbal flies at her and hits her neck. I love this shot. It's not just a simple reveal of like, oh, it's in her head, her head's missing. You see a low angle of her feet, and you see like fingers fall and hit the ground. That was the best part about it. As in, that's not what I was expecting from like the reveal of her death scene. And then she dies, so that gives, Brandy more reason to hate Ash. And, I'm okay with Brandy so far. I mean, we didn't see too much of her. The actress's acting is a little, not so great at sometimes. Like, there's that one part when she's in the hallway talking to, like, the mascot, and she's just like, okay, now I'm angry, and her, like, facial expression or her tone of voice didn't change at all, and I'm like, eh. But we'll see how it goes as it progresses. I hope that stuff works out, because that was kind of like one of the things I was kind of nervous about going into this season, is that like, oh, now Ash has a daughter, and I was like, we didn't really need to do the Ash daughter storyline. In fact, like, you already have Kelly, who's kind of like a daughter to Ash, and I know that the original intent of the season 2 finale was to make Kelly actually his daughter, and they didn't go with that, and I'm actually kind of happy they didn't go with that. But you already kind of have like the surrogate daughter character in Kelly, so you don't really need Ash's actual daughter. But you know what? We'll see how it goes. There's some good moments between them. I still love the moment that wasn't the trailer, but I still love it in the episode when we just...
That's my daughter, Sandy. Mandy.
Brandy. And fuck you.
We're still getting to know each other.
And then the final shot where he takes a hit from the blunt and he just like turns to her and not only gets her name, I'm just like, hey, you want some? And that's how it ends. Wonderful. So it's a solid start to that storyline that could go either way, could end up being really bad or could end up being good and unique, and I, hope it ends up being like that. And also you get the introduction to the new character of Dalton, who, you can first see him, he has like the leather jacket and stuff like that, and he has like good looks and the stubble, and I'm like, okay, he seems like he's gonna be like trying to be like a badass character. And then when he first interacts with Ash, and he's just a complete fan of Ash. And when he first sees Ash, he bows to him. He's like part of some sort of a group of people who like worship Ash. And like I thought that was funny. I love like every time he talks and Ash is kind of like, what? Huh? And just kind of like ignores him. Like when I was like, okay, ready to do this? Pablo, Kelly, new guy. He goes like, yeah, one for all, and yeah, all for one and one for all. And he's just like, yeah, okay, no. Anyway, and I love that interaction. So I'm like, I wonder what they're going to do with this guy. I'm kind of intrigued at where they're going to take this character, because he wasn't what I was expecting from like the first time I saw him in the episode. So I'm interested to see that. You do have one other scene with Ruby in this episode. You have the first scene in the beginning, which I really like that scene of that guy reading from the book and unleashing the evil. I thought that scene was really well handled, really well done, and different. It's not just like Ash reading from the book or even Ruby reading from the book. It was a random guy in this kind of like barn setting, basically, and I thought that was really cool. I love the build up to it. Like every time he reads it and you see like the Evil Dead vision like going through the woods and stuff like that. Like I love the build up to it. Then I love the scene between him and Ruby. Ruby's like walking in and she's just like, in ancient Greece they called me this and this, and the guy is like translating what she's saying. It's just like all these evil things that people called her, and I love the build up to that. Like I love that scene. I thought that was really good. Then you get one other scene with Ruby where she goes back to her home and she opens up the book and goes to the page with the picture of Ash on there, the prophecy of Ash. And she cuts her hand, or she's just actually just stabs her hand. She doesn't even cut it. She just stabs her hand and drips the blood on there and starts smearing it around. And for me, it looks like she's kind of like erasing Ash from the book. Like she's kind of like mixing her blood in there, because like you don't really see the picture of Ash underneath the blood. She starts mixing it around, and then she starts like eating it, which is just really just weird and screwed up. And then she falls down, like opens up her shirt, and you start to see something popping out of her belly. Almost like she's like giving birth to more of her like little deadite babies or deadite kids that she had in the last season. Maybe, I don't know exactly, probably is something different probably. But that was really interesting. And I was like, okay, kind of really fucked up, but you know, I'm intrigued. I want to see what she's doing. I want to see what her ultimate goal is. I mean, like I know she's trying to go after, you know, Ash's daughter and stuff. I wonder like what her main goal is with the season, and wonder like what's going to be like the real plot line of this season. That's what I'm kind of interested in. This episode was kind of a good like refresher and bringing us back in, but it didn't really show us like what the major plot line of the season was going to be. You know, kind of just like, okay, evil's unleashed, we got to stop it, and that's all we know. So overall, really good first episode. Again, it has, you know, some little minor gripes here and there, and it doesn't give us a good overall picture of what the story is going to be. But you know what? It's just the first episode, you know. We still have 9 more to go. And yeah, can't wait for the rest of those episodes, because again, I just love this show, man. It's just so much fun, so great to see Ash Williams back and doing what he does best, you know, just being an idiot and fighting deadites. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the first episode of season 3 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Off to a good start. Just say that. Off to a really good start. And yeah, that's about it for now. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.